Right, and it's now time for Your Health, today being Wednesday. And, Your Health, today we want to talk to Caro Gitari, who is a psychologist. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, Mike.
And I hope you had a good festive season.
Yes, I did.
Okay,
You?
I've had a good. Well, I've been working all through, but I'm not complaining.
Okay.
I'm not complaining at all. But now, Christmas, of course, is a time for cheer and joy for many.
Yes, it
There are
is.
those who basically go back to family and friends and catch up. But
Yes.
it is also a time for those who possibly may be suffering mental health. It becomes a very difficult time for them.
That's
for
true,
various
Mike.
reasons, especially because the rest, let me say, those who possibly may not be in that sphere are oblivious of what might be going on.
Going
Maybe
on,
you can start
true.
from that point and letting us know what goes on.
Okay. So first of all, what we're talking about is depression, right? And depression is an illness. But most people, even after all the awareness that is going on, most people think of depression as just sadness. We use the term so loosely. I'm depressed because I've been working too hard. I'm depressed because I don't have money. Well, that's not true. The real depression is an illness, a mood disorder. And it's not characterized by mere sadness, but it's sadness as well as the inability to do anything. The things you found enjoyable before, you don't enjoy them anymore. You have fatigue, so that means you have no energy. Your sleep patterns change, so either hypersomnia, you sleep too much, or insomnia, you can't
Where you
sleep
don't
at all.
sleep.
Imagine. Your appetite changes as well. So you either eat too much or you don't eat at all.
Okay.
Now, together with that, there's a sense of hopelessness and helplessness.
Okay.
And that's where the suicidal ideation comes in. Because if there's no hope, then what is the point
There's really
of
no
going
point of
on?
living. We'll
Yes.
come to the suicidal bit, and I still want to understand fully depression, because some of the symptoms you've explained, lack of sleep or too much sleep, not eating, or they could also be associated with other things. For
things,
instance,
true.
stress.
Yes.
Some people also manifest the same when you're stressed. How do I tell the difference between, let's start with self.
Yes.
I'm getting into depression as opposed to just being stressed out.
Okay. You see, for depression, what we do is we check that you have to have at least 5 of those symptoms, and for a duration of at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you see, and sometimes you can't.
And this
there's not
duration
a
of 2
trigger.
weeks is
It's
non-stop.
constant.
It's constant.
Yes,
It's there for the 2
yes,
weeks
it's
non-stop.
there for the 2 weeks non-stop. An outsider may not tell, because there are very many people who are able to hide their depression. In fact, we call it hidden depression. Hence the reason when you hear maybe someone committed suicide, you're shocked because
Mostly
they
people
were
don't
so
know.
happy. Yeah, it's not seen, it's hidden. You can go outside and pretend to smile, but when you're back home, the feelings and the symptoms are there. So how we are able to tell, or even yourself, how you're able to tell, if all of a sudden, for no reason at all, you get this sudden bleak low, and say you enjoyed listening to music or reading books, watching movies, being with your friends, you no longer want to do any of that. Your sleep pattern drastically changes, your appetite drastically changes, and all of a sudden, even though maybe you are an optimistic person previously, you feel like
Suddenly,
there's nothing
there's
to
no-
live for. You know, there's nothing. You're not loved. You feel a sense of being unloved. You feel worthless. And these are things that you were not feeling before. So as a person, you can tell that there's something really wrong with how I'm feeling right now.
Is there a clear difference between what you're describing and possibly bipolar? Because bipolar, again, is one that you'll swing from being very happy to being extremely sad or moody.
Now, today, what we're doing is just the plain depression, major depression, but bipolar is another mood disorder as well. The difference in bipolar is that you move from depression, what I've described, to mania. Mania is the extreme opposite.
Okay.
So you can go days without sleep. You have a lot of energy. You're impulsive.
You're almost
You're
excited
super
about
happy.
everything.
Yeah, you spend all your money impulsively. You're talking more than you used to. So you swing from one very
extreme.
low, to another low.
Okay.
The danger with bipolar is that people enjoy the mania. So they don't want to take the medication because they enjoy how it feels when you're there.
Okay.
The problem is that you do drastic things at that point.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll leave the
Bipolar.
bipolar
For
because
now.
I can see that's another subject
Yes.
altogether
Next
and
year.
stick to the depression. But now, the question and the reason why you felt it was important to talk about depression at this point
Now,
in time
yes.
is because with all the joy and cheer that's
Yes.
going round, those who are depressed suddenly feel like it's worse. Because for them, really, there's nothing to live for. And secondly, with everybody else happy, I guess for a depressed person, it even makes them feel worse.
True. And you know, depression is not a choice. And people hide it because, for example, when you say you're depressed and then someone tells you, no, look, what do you have to be depressed about? You have a great family, you have lovely children, you have lots of money. So things like holidays, weddings, festivities make it even harder because you have to pretend more. You have to act more like everything is okay, yet inside, because it's an illness, just like any other illness, and you do not choose how you feel. So unfortunately, the expectations are so high at this period. You know, the expectations to be grateful, to be kind, to share, as you said, to be with family. So a lot of your time, you are feeling more overwhelmed than you normally would when you're on your own. And you see, because when you're around people, you can't exactly tell them, I'm feeling
this
hard,
way,
I'm feeling low.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes you don't want to be the killjoy. You don't want to be the one to spoil the party.
So for even 2 days or so, you may pretend, you may try really hard. But now, unfortunately, after that, you may go through a slump. Apart from now, even those people who are depressed, think about it. Over Christmas, we spend so much time, so much money on our loved ones. So again, another trigger, another thing that causes depression, reactive depression, reacting to something, is life events. So say, for example, you use all your money. January is the time for bills, the time for rent. So even an ordinary person may react by getting depressed. So that's why this is such a tricky time. It's a balancing act for almost everyone.
All right.
Yes.
Finally, before we go to now how I can tell somebody else is depressed, because we're still looking at self here. How do I know that I'm depressed? Because I could be at a point where I just feel like I'm not happy about things, and I could have several reasons. For instance, maybe I didn't have a very good year work-wise. Possibly there's some goals I wanted to achieve and I didn't achieve, and genuinely I could just be unhappy. But there's a difference, I'm sure, between somebody who's unhappy and one who is depressed.
Yes. Someone who is unhappy will still find things that give them joy. Say it's your children at the end of the day, like you're feeling broke and you've had a bad day, but you're with your children and you feel a few moments of joy. Or the next day you wake up and you were looking forward to going for a drive and you enjoy that. An unhappy person will still have times when they can be themselves. A depressed person is unable to do even the smallest things as it progresses. That means taking a shower, changing your clothes. Things like, it's just normal routine
things.
Yes. In fact, do you know right now worldwide, depression is the largest cause of disability. Not cancer, not HIV, no physical illness. Depression right now is the largest cause of disability.
What kind of disability are we talking about?
We're
Here?
talking
Just the fact
in
that
terms
you're
of, yes, you're not able to be to either go to work or go to school or to be productive.
Wow. So
imagine if we're talking about something that is the largest, and yet people are so unaware of it. 300 million people in the world right now. 4.4% of Kenyans are depressed. And those are the reported ones. And we lose how many by suicide? We lose around 800,000 a year.
A year.
And those are the reported, yes. Those are the reported ones.
All right. Let's now look at if I have a depressed person around me, how do I identify that? Because like you've mentioned, one of the things and the symptoms is they want to hide. Naturally, that's something that they can mask very easily.
Yes. So say it's a friend of yours who previously would be willing to see you, would be willing to, go out for a meal, or it's a workmate of yours who would come to work and they're talkative on most days and they're willing to share in work activities, and all of a sudden you notice they've withdrawn. You ask if they want to hang out, they no longer want to hang out. They look like they're sad and withdrawn most of the times, or make comments like nothing makes sense anymore, everything is hopeless. You know, all those sad, really sounding, yes. Ask if the person is okay. Ask if the person would like to talk. Don't brush it off.
They might just lie. They'll tell me, no, they're fine. I mean, our natural answer, if I asked you
to
how
everything.
Are you, is fine.
Yes, to everything. Yeah, especially because I do not want to be the depressed person. But you see, when a depressed person reaches that point where they are so low, they really do want someone to pick them up. So at the beginning, when they're hiding it, they may lie. But if it's a good friend of yours, a family member, then when they are reaching that point where they want to be pulled out of the hole, they will admit, no, everything is not okay. Fine. Everything is not fine. And at least even if you do not have a solution to it, being there, saying, what can I do? How can I help? Instead of brushing it off or saying this will pass or it will go away, taking it seriously is the first step. things like be strong, that doesn't make sense because, for example, if someone is blind and they have eyes, we don't tell them, try to see. You know, it's unrealistic. Yeah, it's unrealistic. Or someone who is paralyzed, you don't tell them, get up and walk. It's the same thing with someone who is depressed. It's an illness. So instead of saying...
instead of be
yes,
strong
instead
and,
of, be happy, there's a lot to be great. No, ask, what can I do? How can I help? What do you need? I'm here. I don't know the pain you're feeling, but I am here. You know, most people who are depressed will say that there's no physical pain, and that's why a number of them cut. You know, cut themselves because you're trying to release the pain in a physical manner. Yeah, because the mental anguish is so much and so deep that there's no pain that compares to it. Yeah.
All right, let's talk solutions. If I am depressed and possibly even those around me may not know, where do I seek help and where do I start?
Okay, first of all, because depression is an illness, see a doctor, see a psychiatrist, see a psychologist. If you go to any hospital, at least you will be referred to where you can go. Because depression is not something that goes away on its own. Yes, sometimes if it was reactive depression and you're reacting to something, probably when you solve that, for example, if it's money and you get a job, the depression may go away. But you see, because depression is caused by so many things, it's caused by brain chemistry, by genetics, not just by life circumstances. It is important to see a doctor, see a psychiatrist, see a psychologist, be assessed, so that you can even check, is your depression mild, moderate, or severe? Because if it's mild, therapy could be enough. But if it's moderate or severe, you may need medication as well.
Are there people who are predisposed or more prone to being depressed?
Yes, because of genetics. So just like diabetes, just like hypertension, we carry it in our bloodline. Okay. And apart from that, brain chemistry. And that's what most people don't understand. They think that when you're given antidepressants, these are just happy pills. They're not. In our brains, we have neurotransmitters that carry out messages, right? And serotonin, the feel-good hormone, has been identified to be low when you're depressed. So that's what the antidepressants are there for, to increase the serotonin.
Okay, so now, generally speaking, as we're concluding, what is it that I need to look out for in case I want to help somebody who's depressed, and how do I help them out? Because naturally, it's to block everybody off.
Yes. First of all, if you just notice that someone has become much lower than they usually are, even when they're going through the worst times of their life, and they have withdrawn and they have the inability to do anything they used to do, simple things, drive a car, if you just notice, because if it's someone you're close to, it means it's someone you talk to regularly, and you notice that they have let themselves go, that it feels like nothing matters to them anymore, reach out. Because all you need to do is say, I am here and I want to help you. I know now, right now it feels like this is the end, like there's no hope, because that's where suicide comes in. If I'm already in hell now, why should I wait? So you're letting the person know, I am here for you this hour. It doesn't even have to be this day, because depression is so painful. You need to at least let the person know, I am here for you this hour. We just need to get you through the next hour and the next hour and the next hour. But always make sure that you take the person for help. And of course, if anyone is watching, please, there's help out there. There's lots of help. And even though it feels like it's a deep hole that you can't come out of, when you're out there, the sun does shine. It may take a while, but the sun does shine. Yeah, but you just need to reach out.
All right, we need to wind up. But last question, and this is to do with suicidals.
Yes.
I've heard people say that if somebody threatens that they're going to commit suicide, chances are they're not. Because if you're going to commit suicide, you'll just do it. Is that true? And how do we handle that?
No, not true. Not at all. The people who, not threaten, the people who say they are going to commit suicide.
It's not a threat.
No. They're searching for help. Let me just give you, as a parting shot, as an example, the lead singer of the band Linkin Park, Chester Bedingfield, the very last album they sang, everything, the lyrics. There's a song called Heavy, and there's a song called One More something. Anyway, the lyrics of that song just read like a depressive person speaking. And he committed suicide in July. In fact, we like to say, you die, depression is the one that has killed you. Because it's not exactly that you want to punish people or you're selfish, it is the pain. There are so many people, so many writers, Virginia Woolf, so many people in the things they wrote. If you look through even some of the artists' work, most of the people who committed suicide, it came out somehow. It came out in their art. It came out in their songs. It came out in their books. Because the pain is there all the time. They're not threatening. They're not trying to, they're not seeking attention. They're actually speaking.
They're in pain.
They're in pain. But no one is able to relieve the pain.
Okay. All right. We'll have to wind up right there. Caro Gitare, psychologist, thank you for joining us this morning. And
Nice being
we
here.
are hoping that that also helps us, especially those who possibly may be going through that pain, that you can seek help. Last thing, how do we get in touch with you if somebody wanted to get in touch
Yes,
with you?
you have my contacts, so they can call the station, yes, and then they can be given.
All right. Thank you very much, Caro Gitare. They are psychologists. And for now, we want to, take a short break as we listen to Magoso's finest, who have given us some good Sikuti music as we continue with the festivities. So I'll hand it over to them now and listen to some of that.